let us empower NEWA technically, that they have the capability to respond to these issues. And I go back that the airline industry example is there. The president took action, and you can see that there was a reversal of air accidents. So we need to do the same thing with NEWA and the inland waterways. If there are issues that need to be taken to Mr. President's table, yes. We're just talking about recently about the Lagos to Calabar River project. And we talk of the trillions that will be invested in that. I don't think we will be investing half that as much to improve the riverways or the inland waterways segment. Let us give that organization the tools that it needs to do the job. If there's a deficiency, yes, let us take it on headly. Take the River Thames, because we were talking about foreign in the foreign climes. The River Thames serves London and beyond so effectively, and it is constantly monitored. It's technically developed. People who work there are technically trained, so they know what they are doing. So why not our inland waterways? Go to the continent, the same thing. Netherlands is a land that is a country that is made of water, just inland waterways network. But the inland waterways network serves that country efficiently. Their economy depends on their inland waterways network. Now we have 28 states. For goodness sake, we need to utilize the inland waterways within the 28 states network, not only to develop our economy for commercial purposes, and to make it alternative way to travel. Now, Nigeria is a nation that is so dependent on road travel and road network, and our development is taking place along the road network. What happens? We invest billions of naira, and the big lorries, they go on the road and spoil the road. On the other hand, we have 28 states that we can adequately develop your industries along the waterway network, take the weight off the roads, and make sure that Nigeria develops, Nigeria takes its place as a developed nation. So we have issues that we think we can push to the table of Mr. President and say, listen, I want the inland waterways network as the vein of this country to drive the development of this of the road network. Take the heavy vehicles off the road. The industry that are developing along our road network, take them away. Take the Ikorodu to Shagamu, which was developed recently. That road is unpassable because you have heavy trucks plying that road. We need to start to think outside the box and see how we can utilize our God-given resources. I mean, UK is not different from Nigeria in terms of road and riverways network, neither the continent, even the China. So we are blessed, but we are not utilizing the blessings of God.
Engineer Ilori, for giving us a comprehensive measures there on how we can utilize our water transportation in this country. When we return, we shall be looking at the first aid regulations. Stay with us.
Across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, the land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, we attack it deeper, we make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Education is unique. We have more than the solution.
We are Nigeria. We are unity. We know they carry love. We are Nigeria. Together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
We are live at the open market for Epic 10X Challenge. My people, today now, Today, I will show you how the power of new Apic 10X gives your toilet a better cleaning than bleach.
Than bleach?
Yes, so
Impossible.
toilets have stains which bleach cannot clean effectively. But Apic is thicker and sticks better, which gives 10X better cleaning versus bleach and kills germs.
Oh, wow.
You can now see that Apic is better than bleach.
Nigeria means unity.
Nigeria means freedom to me.
Nigeria means greatness to me.
Nigeria is indivisible. There's nothing you can do. We all have to savage it together and learn to love each other. We are indivisible.
As a mother and a leader, I will always preach for peace and unity in this country, because that is the only thing that will give us progress. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand, and it is the woman that does that.
This Sunday, Torino,
And there is the equalizer.
Frosinone,
And here's Shedira.
Torino versus Frosinone. Sunday, live on Sporty TV.
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the NTA, and we're discussing safety on our waterways. Our guests are still very much with us, and speaking with Engineer Sarat Brima, now the Lagos Area Manager of NIWA, I would like to ask, so far some terms have been used in this conversation. We've heard about standardize, regularize, monitor, enforce activities on our waterways. I want you to tell us, you know, my colleague did ask earlier about, you know, what NIWA is doing. I know you want to speak for Lagos, but you could just speak on a broader note now. What are the constraints, you know, for NIWA in meeting its obligation, in meeting its rule, you know, on our waterways?
National Inland Waterways Authority has put in place because of all these boat mishaps is a lot now. Now we have what we call search and rescue stations. We have in about 11 states now. In this year budget, there's an additional 7 that will be added. The search and rescue is for us to respond fast to incidents, because we don't pray for incidents, but it will happen. So it is the response to it that matters, and the type of how quick NIWA can respond to boat mishap so that lives can be saved. So that is why we have established search and rescue stations. In that search and rescue station, we are trying to establish one in the north. This is for them, all the boat captains to be trained. They will be trained so that they will at least have the normal rules and regulations of navigation on our inland waterways. Because most of our boat captains, they are illiterate, they don't even know anything. Most of them, they will tell you they learn from their grandfather, because they are water people. So they don't have any formal education before they jump into being established training schools now. So every boat that NIWA want to certify must go through that school. And that school will now give them a certificate. It's that certificate that will make the boat registered by National Inland Waterways Authority. We have established water marshals. The water marshals are going to be deployed to every state now. We started from Lagos. We have done in Port Harcourt. We are moving to Warri, Niger, Kwara, and Anambra. So all these water marshals, they will be at every loading point, which are jetties. So they will monitor activities that are happening before boarding and when people are boats. We have deployed so many now. This year, with this new MD now, he gave so many boats for patrolling so that people will monitor what is happening on the inland waterways. Money is being made available for fueling so that you will not be having issues of there is no fund. Naturally, like Engineer Ilori has said, NIWA is underfunded. there's a lot of negligence by the government on NEWA. If we have spent half of what is being spent on the road, on water, we will not be talking about this. Using the waterways is very expensive. The Netherlands, China, they did invest a lot of money to develop their inland waters. That is why effectively today, it takes a lot of money, but still it is not as expensive as what we are spending on our roads. And it will make our roads even stay longer if policies are being made to move bulk cargoes out of the road. So I pray and I wish that inland water will be focused on so that we will develop it. 28 states are interconnected by this water. So if it is made navigable all year round, and there are buoys, if there are navigational buoys being laid all over this route, I think the inland waterways need to be given effective funding.
Thank you very much, Engineer Brima, for your thoughts there. The inland waterways needs more funding there. Now let's come back to the studio where we still have Godwin Adaga, who is health, safety, and environment professional. And I have two questions for you. The first one is, we're still talking about these safety measures. And how can we adapt the use of technology like GPS, you understand, as a tracking system, you know, and how can it help improve emergency response during accidents on the waters? Then secondly, actually, is that in every accident in this country, particularly, either road or water accidents, you find that the people will just be milling around, they will be milling around the victims, confused, don't know what to do, don't know how to assist them, don't know what kind of first aid to apply. So my question is, what are the basic handouts Nigeria of when there is someone in distress, especially when someone is involved in a water accident?
I'll start with the second question, because there's an element of, I would say, culture there. When something happens to someone, it used to be the case that people want to jump into the scene and try to do rescue, maybe rush them to the hospital, or just try to resuscitate them. But, you know, recently with, I would say, the rise of social media, we've actually seen that more people are, I would say, turned towards sensationalism. People want to tell stories. People want to take pictures. People just want to hang around and see and hear what happened. And, you know, so many times someone just, you know, collapses and everybody's hands on their head and, you know, trying to hear what happened, or somebody, you know, falls. So what we are actually saying is that we're not, I would say, breeding a culture where people are much more eager to be, you know, witnesses rather than actually active participators in rescue operations. And see, at the end of the day, we can talk about the government and, you know, how they can actually help us, but safety is actually first an individual thing. It is first an individual responsibility before it becomes another person's responsibility. Now we're talking about government. People need to be educated on what to do. Accused of being, you know, the perpetrator of whatever happened to the lady that fainted. People are scared of participating in rescue. Now, we need to, first of all, educate people on how to perform simple rescue operations. I'm not asking people to put their lives at, you know, in danger. I'm not asking people to jump into fire and try to rescue people. That's the job for trained professionals. But people should know how to do simple things like CPR. People should know how to, you know, do a mouth to mouth. You know, people should know how to respond when somebody hits their head on the floor. People should know how to lie them on their side and try to get them to breathe. You know, there was an incident when a footballer collapsed on the field of play, and all the other footballers, all the other teammates, they were shocked. They didn't know what to do until someone came and put his hand inside the footballer's throat. He was aware that what was happening was that the person might have collapsed, but he also needed to breathe. And that singular act of opening his throat saved him 2-3 seconds, enabled the medical team to quickly rush to him and take him to safety. So yes, people are much more, prone to just watch. This is where education comes in. We need a mass sensitization, right? Targeted at teaching people what to do. It may not look like it's having impact, but when you sing a message, often people are actually becoming more aware of what to do. And we've done it for the roads. We did jingles, we did adverts, how not to drive and drink, and now people know it's wrong to drive and drink. Even if they still do it, it's somewhere in their consciousness. So we need that kind of movement. And of course, you talked about technology, how we can leverage technology to, improve not only navigability, but also safety. I like the fact that, they've spoken about how rivers change, the routes change, the depths change, even it changes, So there are places in River Benue where when it's dry season, you can actually see a heap of sand. It's visible. There's a heap of sand. If you came there during the rainy season, it was a free ride. But in the dry season, there's a different channel. So what are we going to do with tech? We need to employ low-hanging fruits. We have Google Map, that people who do transport services actually use to navigate their distress messages, updates to stations that are close by. What I would do is, without even going there, without even following these people around, you can actually see live status of these boats across the water. And these are things that are easy to do because they are Google enabled.
All right, thank you so much, Adoga, Godwin Adoga. I would have really loved to go to Dr. Osman, but I would like Engineer Lori to first respond to this question about what the private sector can do. So much has been said. There's so many lapses, and we know the government cannot do everything. So is there a way the private sector can, key into this sector, just so that we could enhance the activities on our waterways and also improve safety?
Very much. We need to harness the resources of the inland waterways, and there is money to be made on the inland waterways, but our investors need to be encouraged to take these opportunities seriously. Unfortunately, nobody is going to invest on a route that has no map, that has no navigable ways. So that's why some of our investors are on is a partnership. And then once our investors see the opportunity and they see the enabled environment, of course, they will participate. We've raised the issue of different countries that are using their waterways for their national economic defense. But it's a partnership between the government and the private sector. Once they come into it, then it's going to be easy. You don't want to see these rickety boats on the water anymore. Once NEWA comes up with standardized boats that have some of this equipment, of course, we can then see the investors participating. Lagos State, for example, when they were told that yours is not to regulate the inland waterways, they invested in modern boats that can carry passengers. The situation where you see a wooden boat that is overloaded, for goodness sake, shouldn't exist on our waters anymore. Okay, yes, there's artisanal fishing on the riverine areas, but why can't we use modern boats to fish in these waters that are properly equipped to respond to emergencies? So there's a dialogue there between regulators and the industry, where the economic opportunities are and where they can take advantage of it. Of course, we are not saying that our traditional people should be run out of job, but what your great-grandfather used to do can no more apply today. So that's where the awareness issue comes. Let them be empowered if need be, and then we can then take it forward. The issue of financing the waterways is a big problem. But then what stops Nigeria for saying, okay, we'll have a maritime development bank where funds will be available, because we know the paucity of funds from the government. But then where we have a maritime development bank where investors can go, where we can develop these local people, then we can see a turnaround in the fortunes of our inland waterways. Yes, it is work in progress. We have seen the activities of Lagos NEWA, because that's again an issue of capacity development. I know that our engineer Sarat was given the opportunity to develop, and she is performing. But then 28 states of the inland waterways, what is the presence of our personnel in the 28 states? How developed are they? Are they utilizing the laws that says inland waterways must provide best people for the Nigerian waterways? Part of their responsibility. So we need to interrogate what we have at the moment and see how we can move the industry forward. But yes, there is a partnership there between the private sector and the inland waterways, because there is money. I know that because I've been part of that system.
Engineer Ilori, there is a partnership between the inland waterways and the private sector. Let's go to Zaria now, where we still have Dr. Usman. Let's look at the partnership between the states and NEWA now. What level of collaboration should states be involved in, especially with law enforcement, maritime safety, and transportation safety, you know, in identifying the causes of these unfortunate and preventable disasters?
Thank you, Ademola. I think the partnership between states and NEWA should no longer be antagonistic. It has been so before, and that was the major thing that has been barring development of waterways by states, despite the fact that we know 28 states of this country have been bypassed by waterways or are covered by the waterways, which can be also navigable. So state governments, particularly those along the banks of River Niger and Benue, which is the major arteries, should now cooperate the more with NEWA. And also, especially the laws have also mandated that, because it has been over 20 years we have been trying to resolve conflicts between states and the federal government in terms of NEWA laws versus laws proposed by states. All these laws should be seen to have failed, and now what we need is good collaboration between the states and NEWA, but most especially NEWA should be able to obtain what we have been saying, presidential intervention. Mind you, waterways transport is one of the important modes of transport in many countries and is a source of development to many countries, and we have it in abundance to exploit, to harness, and to make it more useful to Nigeria. So state governments, this is the time to actually keep that antagonistic approach, discuss fairly with NEWA, and then seek for intervention from, especially to review ownership, operation, and development of jetties in every state. Also to help to develop and deploy new naval architecture for boats that are to be used in our waterways, because at the moment what we have, they are too traditional, and it cannot be so. We cannot sustain that. We have to come up with a very good research to develop a very good architecture that can suit the type of boats, ferries that we can use. And we must be able to standardize the type of jetties that we operate in this country. There are lots of revenues to be derived from there, both from the jetties and from operating the boats. So both the state government and the federal government, that is through NEWA, should be able to now start discussing in earnest to be able to come on amicable terms, because there is a huge commercial implication of neglecting waterways. We lose revenue, and also we incur high costs on other modes of transport. So waterways transportation should be seen as a key transportation system in this country. Especially, it was the first. There was no railway when there was waterways. There was no roads when there was waterways. For Congo Park and all other colonialists to be able to move around this country. The same thing, countries later on come to develop. If you check this Yangtze River in China, it's the major source of development of the Chinese economy at the moment, because it was able to cover the entire hinterland, which rivers Niger and Benue and its tributaries is doing in Nigeria. So all state governments or states that are within the waterways network should come up with a cool head, discuss with newer and particularly...
Wrap up your thoughts as we round off the conversation.
Hello, sorry. So National Inland Waterways Authority is open-handed. We are ready for collaboration. We cannot do it all alone. We need the states to collaborate with National Inland Waterways Authority. Some states are not viable commercially. You cannot expect private people to buy and say they want to go to Taraba or Niger now because of profit involved. But if federal government can buy boats, put it there like a CSR, just to make people board good boats. And if it is the states that want to take up that, yes, NEWA will definitely collaborate with all states to do that, because we just want
Engineer Sarah Brima, of course, you're open for collaboration with states, private sector, whoever is interested. And of course, you want the government to do much more. We appreciate you, Engineer Sarah Brima, Lagos Area Manager, National Inland Waterways Authority, for joining us for the conversation. We also appreciate Engineer Emmanuel Ilori, the former Senior Marine Surveyor, Lloyd's Register, London. Thank you for your insights on the program. We do appreciate you. Of course, Dr. Gidado Shehu Usman, Deputy Director, Transport School, Madrid Institute of Transport Technology, Zaria. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. And of course, Godwin Adoga, Health, Safety and Environment Expert. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Good Morning Nigeria this Tuesday. Many thanks for watching. Please remain tuned to the NTA. I'm Ian Ray John.
And I'm Ademola Ade. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.